Hello everyone, welcome back to Reading Through the Generations. It's Precious, and in this week's video I am doing my TBR as well as a reading vlog for the Magical Orilium Readathon. So let me introduce you to my character. This is Santina, and this is an illustration that my sister painted for me. Very talented. And if you're unfamiliar with what this readathon is, it is the brainchild of G from a book roast where she's created this entire magical realm where we get to create a character, choose a life path, and it's held twice a year, every spring in April and every autumn in August. Now Allison from Allison on a Book Break went above and beyond with this readathon. She is one of the most creative booktubers that I can think of, and I will be adopting her school schedule time block idea as well as her little games that helped her choose which books were going to be on her TBR. She also created these adorable bookmarks. I don't know if I'll have time to do that, but if I do, I will, just because I think that's such an adorable idea. So that way you can keep track of each day of the week and how many pages you read. So thank you so much, Allison, for letting me adopt and use wonderful ideas. So this is my second year pursuing the life path of a necromancer. I have 5 classes for this autumn equinox that I need to complete, and let's go over the classes together. So the first class is Animal Studies. This is the Introduction to Domestic Creatures, and this is to do a pet pick, and my choices for this little game is Hold Me Closer Necromancer by Lish McBride. This has to make it on my TBR. I'm hoping it will. Then I have The Little White Horse by Elizabeth Googe. And then I have Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton. So I'll insert a clip of how the game went. All right, girls, which one will it be? 1, 2, or 3? Which one? 1. All right, thank you. So we will be reading Hold Me Closer Necromancer for Introduction to Domestic Creatures. Very exciting. Then for course 2, that is Spells and Incantations. This is learning the Black Flame. So the prompt that goes with this is to read a book with flames or black cover. So for flames, I have Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett. And then for black cover, it's missing its dust jacket. I'll insert a photo of what the dust jacket's supposed to look like, but I am pretty certain that it's black. This is Keturah and Lord Death by, Martine Leavitt. And then I have Tuesday Mooney Talks to Ghosts by Kate Reculia. So let's find out on our spinner wheel how we're going to choose which book will be for this course. All right, I'm gonna come up close so you can watch with me. Okay, author's name. So P for Pratchett. L comes before P. R comes after P. So here is our stack for A to Z author's name. And let's go on to the other spinner wheel. All right, let's hit. Which one will it be? Middle. So we'll be reading Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett. Yay! All right, our next course is Conjuration, learning how to release free spirits. And the prompt for this is to read a self-published book. And I'm jumping on the bandwagon here, friends. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read Legends and Lattes. I'm very, very excited to read this cozy fantasy. The next course is Restoration, learning a spell to induce sleep. And for this, I have A Lat's Away by Darcy Little Badger, Blood in the Mist by Hope Merlis, and then The Man Who Was Magic by Paul Gallico. Sorry, there's a glare there. All right, let's spin the spinner wheel. Sorry, it's really slow. Publication date. All right, I think A Lat's Away came out in 2020. Let me double check that. All right, publication date for A Lat's Away was August 5th, 2020. The Man Who Was Magic was published in 1966. That's going to go on the top. Blood in the Mist was originally published in 1920, so that's going to go on top. The Man Who Was Magic will be in the middle, and A Lat's Away will be on the bottom. So let's see which one we will have to read for this course. All right, so we'll be reading Allison. Exciting! I've been wanting to read that for the longest time. Our last course is Demonology, Introduction to Low-Level Demons. And the prompt for this was to go onto our Storygraph or Goodreads, and the first book that we see, which we own, will be the book that we'll have to read. And the book we'll be reading for this course is She Come By It Natural, Dolly Parton and the Women Who Lived Her Songs by Sarah Smarsh. I'm really glad a nonfiction made it onto this TBR. And it's about one of my most favorite people on this planet, Dolly Parton. All right, so here is our Autumn Equinox TBR. We have Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett, Hold Me Closer, Necromancer by Lish McBride, She Come By It Natural by Sarah Smarsh, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baltree, and A Lot's Away by Darcy Little Badger. Now on to figuring out the actual school schedule for these courses. So for our Animal Studies course, Introduction to Domestic Creatures, I have a spinner wheel with the time slots, and then I've gone ahead and written on little slips of paper the days of the week along with the categories of the time, so AM, noon, PM, and late. So the 1 hour time slots are in yellow, the 1.5 hour time slots are in blue, and the 2 hour time slots are in green. All right. One and a half hours, 3 times a week. So that will be the blue piece of paper. Okay. Let's see, the first one is Wednesday PM. And the second one will be, sorry, they're sticking to one another. Friday PM. The third one will be Monday PM. Okay. For spells and incantations, learning how to master the black flame, that will be on all right, 1.5 hours twice a week plus 1 hour once a week. So that will be 2 blue pieces of paper and 1 yellow piece of paper. Friday in the morning. And Wednesday in the morning for the yellow. Thursday late. Looking good. All right, so for the third class, Conjuration, learning how to release free spirits. We will be taking that. All right, 1 hour, 4 times a week. So that is the yellow pieces of paper. Let's see. Tuesday at noon. Wednesday late. Friday late. And the last one is Tuesday late. All right. For restoration, a spell to induce sleep. The prompt is technically to read a book before bed, and I'm going to be doing that for the first day of the readathon. But then we'll be spinning for the rest of the week. Okay, let's see what we get. All right, 2 hours twice a week. That will be green, our first green. Weekend in the PM. That's both Saturday and Sunday. Then for our final course, Demonology, Introduction to Low-Level Demons. Let's see what we get. One hour, 3 times a week. So that is yellow. Wednesday at noon. Thursday at noon. Final one. Oops. Come on. Then Monday at noon. All right, Santina's school schedule for Autumn Equinox looks like this. And we will see you tomorrow with a reading update. Thanks, everyone. Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, and it's almost time for Santina and I to take our lunch break. We have our first conjuration course at noon as well. Before all that, let me give you all a recap of our first day of school at Orilium Academy. We read She Come By It Natural, Dolly Parton and the Women Who Lived Her Songs by Sarah Smarsh. This book examines the most vulnerable women in our society through our cultural icon and living saint, Dolly Parton. It's a unique combination between memoir and biography because Smarsh incorporates feminist theory throughout the book, as well as provides her own personal narrative. She writes that some of the most vulnerable people in our society are women living in poverty, and how economic hardship ultimately impacts our decisions as women. She makes scholarly observations on women from the rural Midwest, and she compares and contrasts the lives of her own grandmother and mother who raised her and who persevered just like Dolly Parton despite their disadvantages and rural backgrounds. The three women really adore Dolly Parton, and Smarsh is raised on her music and that of other women country singers who all sang beautiful and powerful stories about survival. For Smarsh's family, she writes, "Country music was foremost a language among women. It's how we talked to each other in a place where feelings weren't discussed." And no one provides that language better than Dolly Parton. This book is written in an accessible way, which I really appreciate, and I'm really enjoying it so far, and I can't wait for Wednesday to read more from this book. Then the next class for animal studies on Monday, we read Hold Me Closer, Necromancer by Lish McBride, and in this book we follow a miserable young man named Sam who's recently dropped out of his first semester at university and works at Slumpy's, a burger joint, and we see his hilarious interactions with his friends and co-workers. I love the banter in this book. The characters remind me of my own friends. One night there is some drama with a potato that ends up putting out a headlight in one of the cars parked in the restaurant. And of course the car belongs to a very dangerous and powerful man named Douglas Montgomery. And the characters at this point don't know yet that he is a necromancer and is the leader of the Northwest Council in Seattle, which is a big deal because Douglas is very territorial and he doesn't want other necromancers in his area. So I think we'll be uncovering some personal and family history about Sam as we get further into the book. I stopped at the point where we meet Brid, who is a royal werewoman, and she's been kidnapped by Douglas, and it'll be interesting to see how the two storylines meet up. I have a bit of an inkling, as this title suggests, possibly a romance, and I don't think it's going to be between Sam and Douglas, but I've been known to be wrong before, so we'll have to see. Now for our conjuration course, we'll be reading this sweet little fantasy, and I want to get all cozy by making a beverage as well as some lunch, so let's go do that. Hello everyone! It is now Saturday morning and I finally have time to give you a bit of a reading update. I finished She Come By It Natural, Dolly Parton and the Women Who Lived Her Songs by Sarah Smarsh. It wasn't exactly what I expected it to be. I think if you're looking for a biography on Dolly Parton's life, just read her autobiography, My Life and Other Unfinished Business, because this is more of a memoir that incorporates the life of Dolly Parton and how the remarkable and inspirational life she's lived through a feminist lens. I learned a whole lot about feminist theory from this book, and Sarah Smarsh is a journalist and academic scholar on the subject, so it was very interesting. I would say that her main thesis throughout the book is that although Parton and Smarsh's grandmother wouldn't necessarily call themselves feminists, that they are prime examples of what she refers to as lived feminism. Smarsh describes lived feminism as the struggle of living with sexism and figuring ways to manage around it in the moment without the lexicon of feminist theory, resources, or social capital. She addresses Parton's contribution to feminism, reflecting on how Parton directly spoke to struggling women through her lyrics, and how a generation of women with little voice found theirs in Parton's songs. She takes examples from Parton's life, particularly early on in her career, where she stood her ground confidently and assertively negotiating what she wanted in a male-dominated industry and world. Despite being the center of jokes and having both sexes judge her based on her appearance and underestimating her, Parton is very quick to joke about herself and her appearance, creating her own unique power. I also want to mention Parton's literacy project called the Imagination Library, which is a wonderful program that provides free books to children up to age 5. Parton started this project in honor of her father, who was illiterate, and this reading program is open internationally, and I believe she started a program in Mexico recently. And as someone who grew up in a disadvantaged household in a very isolated town, I understand how difficult it can be to get access to books, and I know for a fact that if it wasn't for my amazing teachers, especially in my younger years, like preschool and kindergarten, if they didn't allow me the opportunity to bring home books from school so that way I could practice and learn how to read. First of all, my love for literature would not have been nurtured, and I know for sure I wouldn't be here because books have saved my life numerous amounts of times. So I don't really ever ask for anything, but I think if we could all take a moment and check out the link that I'll provide down below, I think we should all take a moment to enroll a child that we know that would benefit from this program, or even nominate a whole rural community for this program. I think that would be absolutely wonderful. I started Weird Sisters by Terry Pratchett for our Spells and Incantations course. If you've never read Pratchett before, he is known to take inspiration from beloved classic literature, and if you're a big Shakespeare fan, you will know by the title that this is in honor of Shakespeare's Macbeth, We follow 3 ornery and very hilarious witches, Nanny Og, Granny Weatherwax, and Margaret Garlic, when on a stormy night they are left with a baby and his golden crown. The baby is the true heir of Lancre. His father, King Verence, has just been murdered by his cousin, Lord Felmet, and it's up to the 3 witches to find a safe home for the baby. If you're unfamiliar, this is part of the Discworld series, which is a fantastical world that travels through space and time on the back of 4 giant elephants and a swimming space turtle called Readathon. Pratchett greatly satirizes our own world and society in all of his books, and he writes with humor and great observation. Besides his character of death, the witches are my most favorite, and this is the first book in which all 3 of them are central figures. I haven't read this in a really long time, so I'm really pleased that it made it on my Magical Readathon TBR. For our Conjuration course, we read Legends and Lattes by Travis Baltrey. I'm really enjoying this one. I'm so happy that the Conjuration class is at night, because this is like a cozy cup of hot cocoa. It's so wonderful. We follow an incredible orc named Viv, who one day comes to the realization that she'd rather live out her dream opening a cafe than continue slaughtering demons. So she travels to the nearest town and meets a carpenter named Cal and hires an assistant named Tandri, and they all work together to make Viv's dream a reality. Then we continued our Animal Studies course, Hold Me Closer, Necromancer by Lish McBride. I'm about 3/4 the way through this one, and we have uncovered some family secrets about Sam, and he discovers the reason why Douglas has never been able to sense his power or even know about his existence. And that's because when Sam was born, his necromancer uncle bound his powers. So we've just gotten to the part where Douglas snatches Sam, and both he and Britain, the werewoman, are now in the same predicament. It's so funny and so fast-paced. I'm really enjoying this one. Then for our first course in restoration, we'll be reading Alatsaway by Darcy Little Badger. I know Darcy Little Badger is an Indigenous author, and I believe Alatsaway is our protagonist in this story, and she's from the Lipan Apache tribe. And I think it's a bit of a murder mystery, and she comes from a long line of animal necromancers, so I'm very excited to get to this one. So that's it for a little reading update. I do have some happy news. My sister called the other day, and she'll be on her way. She'll be flying out from Nevada to visit me tomorrow. So I know, oh man, it's been more than a year since we've been together, and it's been more than a year since we've had an in-person book club tea party discussion, which we try to do every month. So that will be really fun to do. I know we'll be getting up to even more bookish shenanigans, so I'll do my best to try to bring you all along. And for today, I believe I'm just gonna water the garden, catch up on some chores, start reading Alatsaway, and make some breakfast. So I'll see you in a little bit.